Okay, this tutorial is going to cover just the basic 101 of what prefabs are and how you can effectively use them in a map. I went ahead and created just a small garage here that you can store vehicles in, whatever have you. The textures aren't perfect. I didn't make this to be professional. I just did this just for the users. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my shift key down and I'm going to select everything that's in this map. I'm just going to drag along and select as much as possible. And when you think you've got everything selected, you probably don't. So just kind of make a one surround of the building. Check things out here. Didn't have that side done. Didn't have that rail. Scoot in, look around. Okay. Now what I'm going to do now is save it as a prefab. A prefab is exactly that. It's a prefabricated piece of something. It's already been made. So you don't have to remake it again. You can just load, put it in a map. So we're going to go ahead and click our edit and we're going to save this selection. The selection is everything that I highlighted. So we're going to save it as a prefab. And I already have this made, so I'm just going to save it as a warehouse prefab. It's in a folder where you designate it in your editor as a prefab folder in your edit preferences or your project settings. I can't remember which one it is offhand. I'm just going to go ahead and save it as our warehouse. Save it here. We're going to replace it because I already had one made. I'm going to exit that. I'm going to create a new map. Now I'm going to click on edit. We're going to load a prefab and we're going to go ahead and click the warehouse, and if we look off to our left we can kind of see it. That's the top to bottom. Zoom out. There it is. Zoom in and it's there. This is really useful if you're going to be doing like posts, rails, little small tedious things, or unless you made something really nice like a house you want to keep reusing or anything of that nature. That's what prefabs are, and that's what they do. They Each one of these they're all brushes. It's all they are. I just copied each brush and just made it into one entire unit and named it warehouse. So if you're concerned about are they brushes, yes they are. Everything you make in this map is going to be a brush that you physically make by drawing and applying texture to. Is going to be somewhat of what they call a brush. Now that we have the prefab placed somewhere in the map, typically you would place it on a ground surface level or somewhere where you're going to put surface level to it. But for now, moving and manipulating brushes, very large brushes will tend to crash Radiant. I recommend not doing very large brushes. Small ones you can do. Very, very large ones, they will crash. I know in Medal of Honor Radiant it crashed all the time. So for this one, if you're going to manipulate any brushes, you need to grab it on a brush. Don't grab it from a map, because if you grab it from the map, it'll distort, just like this. And if you find yourself doing it, release the button, your left mouse button, press Ctrl Z, it restores you back to the previous state. The best way to do it is grab an actual brush or a floor or something where it's not going to distort. So you can move this around. The higher the grid setting, the better it is for moving and rotating. The lower the grid, the worse it is for moving and rotating, because a lot of these brushes won't snap. And when you're going to create this as a detailed, a detailed brush, sometimes these walls will turn out really bad, distorted skews. When you render it, your wall will have some shadowing, fading effects on the side. It looks awful. It's going to create node has 3 tiny portals, all kinds of compile mapping errors. So that's your basics on creating a prefab. Prefabs, like I say, are just brushes. You put them together. You select all the brushes you want to create a prefab, and you save it, and you can load it in any map, and there you have it.